The Deity Theos is a very unique wireless audio system that is great for recording audio when it comes to interviews, feature films, short films, documentaries, you name it. The kit comes with 3 different antennas that are color-coded, because if you don't remember numbers as well, then colors are your best friend. It goes from a frequency range of 550 to 960 megahertz. Red being the lowest frequency range, yellow being the mid to high frequency range, and the blue being the highest frequency range. All of these antennas have their own benefits and features, and we're going to be discovering how well they truly are in this experiment. There's a ton of resources and valuable material in the video description, so I highly encourage you to check that stuff out. So for this first test, I'm going to be using the red antenna at a frequency of 597.2 megahertz. Alrighty, and by the way, it's about 50 feet going to and from that area from point A to point B. Right now, I am pretty much about half. My backyard is pretty small, but it's a nice grassy area. So you can hear my voice as I'm speaking, and now we're gradually approaching the end point. I'm going to turn the corner. Now we're at the 50-foot mark, and here we are next to my shed. Don't know if there's any audio dropouts at the moment, but maybe if I walk a little further in there, but I'm on the other side of the house now. And so maybe there's something blocking. Now I'm using the yellow antenna at a frequency of 560.9 megahertz. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any audio dropouts this go around, but let's find out, see what we get. Again, 50 feet from point A to point B, so let's do it. Now I'm at the halfway point as I am walking. So again, it's such a much nicer day outside than it normally is. And now I am at the 50-foot mark. There we go. I know where the shed is, about 50 feet, going back to point A. And last but not least, for this type of testing, we're going to use the blue antenna set at 922.3 megahertz. So, as we are beginning the walk, it is starting to rain or sprinkle just a little bit, which is nice because we don't really get enough of that over here. But, you know, living in the desert, it's a different place. So I'm a little more than halfway through. I'm probably at the 30 to 40 foot mark. Now I'm going to come around the corner and hit the 50-foot mark over here. Yep, 50 feet right here. We are right next to the metal shed. And maybe you guys can hear me if I walk around a little bit. Maybe you're going to get some cutting in and out. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. But I am going to start walking back. For this test, I'm going to walk all the way down there, which is approximately 390 feet. So let's see what happens with the audio. I am using the blue antenna and a frequency of about 916.9 megahertz. So as I am talking to you, you may or may not be getting audio feed right here. And I think I might just do my tongue twister as I continue to talk to the camera. To sit in solemn silence in a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock. A cheap and shitty chopper on a big black block. Hello. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and shippy chopper on a big black block. To sit in solemn silence on a dull in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and shippy chopper on a big black block. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock. I walked 390 feet down that way, so now we're going to swap out the antennas, and I'm going to do the test with the yellow antenna, see how far I can reach. I'm currently working with 656.5 megahertz, because that was the greenest and most cleanest frequency I could get. There were a lot of clean frequencies, but it was one of the cleanest frequencies I can get while scanning. I should also say that I'm using 10 milliwatts, I believe. Let's see, maybe you can still hear my voice, maybe it's dropping out, I don't know. But the only way to find out is that we keep on walking. To sit in solemn silence in a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and shippy chopper on a big... Got someone walking their dog. I'll be walking past them. Looks like a nice black lab, maybe? Just let me know what you'd like to see moving forward. And if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, as always. And more tech reviews and related content coming to the channel soon. We are back. The audio signal should be present since I'm using the yellow antenna. And yeah, so now let's move on to the red antenna and see how far we can get. I'm recording this on a Sunday evening, so cars are coming and going and people are taking care of the trash and all that stuff. So don't mind them, but it is a little more noisier than usual on this street. Normally it's a lot more quiet and peaceful, but you know, it's a Sunday and I don't know when the weather is going to be as good as it is right now. So if you live in a part of the country, United States, the United States live in a where there's a lot of controlled environment. I need water. That's what it comes down to. I need water. And my left arm is starting to give out a little bit. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I can promise you that. Because I'm a boom operator. And by now you should definitely hear my audio. If not, then there is something wrong. Maybe you can trust the red antenna range. I don't know. But here we are. And hope this experiment was interesting for you. Let's go for a spin in the car, shall we? Here we go. I'll see you guys very soon. I'm gonna go down the cul-de-sac and see how far we can get with this audio. Again, using the red antenna. So, to sit in solemn silence in a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock. Seeing the sensation of a short shock from a cheap and chippy chop. So for this one, I am using the frequency of 661.6 megahertz. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a big black block. Lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a big black block. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock. Now I'm going to be using 920 megahertz. We're using an RF power of 50 watts. Lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a big black block. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a big black block. And I have come back to have reached my destiny. For this next experiment, I'm in my neighborhood park and I'm going to walk all the way across there to see how far the frequency range can keep the audio signal going. I'm currently working on a frequency of 590.6 megahertz and currently using 50 watts as well. So let's find out and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, 40, 41, 42, 54, 55, 56, 59, 60, 61, 62, 64, 66, 67, 68, 70. Oh, I gotta catch my breath. 74, 78. There are not nearly any frequencies available that work really well in this location. When I scanned it, I only saw maybe 2 green bars. The rest were all yellow and red. So, don't know what it is about this location, but it was kind of hard to find something that worked. So I'm now hooked up to the yellow antenna using a frequency range of 659.3 megahertz. I also am only using 20 watts because that's the highest it goes to when you're using the yellow antenna. I had no trouble finding green bars using the yellow antenna in this location. Let's walk down there again, 150 feet, come back and see if we get any audio dropouts. As I am walking, I am feeling the sun radiating on my skin and it is so pleasant, I tell you. I love this. But I made sure to come out here in the morning-ish. I'm not a big morning person, but I made sure to come out here in the morning so that I can get this done and not have to worry about getting heat stroke. We're approximately very, very close to getting to 150 feet up in the air. I'm at approximately 150 feet. I'm going to turn around. Maybe you're getting some signal now if it was already dropped out. So yeah, and it is really freaking hot, so I'm just going to start walking back so I can get back in the shade. Maybe the audio signal has dropped, maybe not. It's going to be pretty fascinating, honestly. I have no doubt that the audio signal remained. Okay, so now I am using the blue antenna at a frequency range of 917.3 megahertz, and I'm using the highest wattage that's available for this frequency range, which is 50 watts. If you work in the audio industry, especially doing production sound for the film and television industry, or maybe you do live events, let me know what you do down in the comments. I'd love to learn about everyone that checks out this channel, and especially because just the film industry in general has been like really slow lately. I know for me, my summer this year in 2025 has been really, really slow. I only had like 1 gig. So now we have reached 150 feet. I'm gonna turn around and walk back to you. I'll be amazed and honestly really happy if there have been no audio dropouts. This will be really fascinating, really good to know. And also, if this kind of happens, then I'm connected straight to my camera, so just know that you can use the Deity Theos to record interviews from really far away, do testing experiments like this, especially if you're working on a short film or a feature film and you want to record your actors from a very far distance. Keep in mind though, this is a very open area, very open field, a grassy area with trees. There's not much metal around to really interfere with the frequency that I'm using. So that could be a big part of why the audio dropouts haven't been happening as much. So it just depends on where you are. But if you want to see me do some more tests and experiments with the Deity Theos, let me know down in the comments. So I think the Deity Theos is a really great digital wireless system for the price it is. And doing this distance experiment test, I've realized that no matter how far you are away from your receiver, no matter what antenna you're using, it really all depends on the location that you're in. And I mean, if you're watching this, you could have already assumed that. Depending on the location that you're in, what's around you, that can all affect whether or not your audio is going to drop out, depending on how far away you are from the receiver. And having looked back at the footage for the red antennas, I am really surprised of how fast that audio dropped out. Also keep in mind that I was using an omnidirectional antenna. The red, yellow, and blue antennas that you have in your Deity Theos kit are omnidirectional antennas, meaning that they go 360 when it comes to the range. Now, if I were to use a shark fin antenna with more directionality, perhaps audio wouldn't be dropping out as much because there would be more focus on where I was. It would more than likely improve the overall range. I don't think the Deity Theos does well when hooked up to your camera, but this also could depend on the type of camera you're using. I always prefer to record audio from my external mixer, the Zoom F6, or any other type of audio recorder, but cameras not necessarily. And if you're curious as to how I set up my Deity Theos with my Zoom F6, you can check out the video above my head that will give you some more information on that. It's also always important to monitor your audio before recording your footage. This is because even though the audio levels may seem like they're at -12 decibels or in a good range, you don't know what it's actually sounding like. You could be getting some loud noise floor in the background that's ruining your take. So it's just always important to double check that stuff. As expected, the red antenna had the worst range. It's the lowest range with the Deity Theos, and I don't know when you would want to use the red antenna. Some people still use the red antenna for some reason. I'm sure there's a reason why you should use the red antenna at certain points, but I always stick with the yellow antenna. And probably if you want to like increase your wattage per se, going from the transmitter and receiver, then you would want to use the red antenna, or let's say the blue antenna. That just all depends. But in this overall experiment, I'd say it was a battle between yellow and blue that was going for the crown. I've never had any problems with the yellow antennas, and the blue antennas did a really decent job. A few audio cutouts here and there in places I didn't think would happen, but you know, that's wireless audio and stuff happens. So what did you take away from this Deity Theos distance test? Did you find anything that really stood out to you or surprised you? Also, if you're curious how I set up my Deity Theos to my camera, check out this video right next to me. It'll go through all the guidelines and how I set things up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in that video.